Hello, 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 Illumineers, and welcome to the Nerdstrom household. My name is Nerdstrom, and we got our final deck profile for the Set 8 Nerdstrom House Championship. And what better way to close out our deck profiles than with the champ itself? It is the reigning, the defending, the undisputed champion of the Nerdstrom household, of course. It is what I believe to be my signature deck. Um, the Sapphire Steel Kiwi Birds, somewhat. um, high level ward package that I created. Um, I have yet to find anybody who uses Ward in Blue Steel as strongly as I do, and that is the reason why I take the claim as Nerdstrom's. This is Nerdstrom's signature deck. I mean, it has won the Nerdstrom House Championship for Set 7, and it has really established its place in the Nerdstrom household quite well. I have used this one for Set Championships quite a bit in a lot of different contests throughout. Has it had a success? It remains to be desired, considering I've only made one. I've only made one top four in my entire existence playing this game, and this did not involve this did not involve that one. But it's a deck that's very near and dear to my heart, and I very much enjoy playing it, win or lose, and it's definitely proven its worth here in the Nerdstrom household. Um, Blue Steel in today's meta is not necessarily a deck that is very popular. It's not very prominent, but it is a very. But I did learn how good it was starting in Set 6 when I started playing against Kiwi Bird variants of the Sapphire Steel deck. A lot of people also know it as a big ramp deck, kind of similar to Ruby Sapphire, except they use Steel instead of Ruby in order to kind of maintain the ramp and the dominance and all that kind of stuff. And there's generous amount of people out there that still play Sapphire Steel. Props to them, and props to myself actually, because I guess I'm a part of that. I'm a part of that crowd. I never would consider myself a Sapphire Steel player. I just like playing the deck that I have, and just so happens to be Blue Steel. But the other deck that's very prominent is the Kiwi Birds variant. Mine tends it's one that tends to be a little bit faster. Very very useful, and I think it's really good. But one of the things I really always wanted to do in this deck is focus a lot more on the ward. And ironically, the card that actually got me interested in doing a big ward package for Blue Steel was Aurora from set all the way back in Set 1. And for a while, I did have it in this deck. That is not the case anymore. And it was all just a sense of streamlining and doing what I could to kind of make things happen. I think that the idea was you've got Aurora, and she gives everybody else ward. And then if for some reason like you play that and then you have Alice on the board, you can just exert that, quest it, give ward to Aurora, and now all of a sudden everybody's got ward. And chances are probably the only person that you can target is Alice in that situation. But yeah, I am very proud of this deck, win or lose, and I've really enjoyed playing this deck, and I'm really excited to share the Set 8 variant of this thing. I do not know that with rotation, this is going to be a useful deck going forward. Some of the cards that are in this deck, I just have a very strong feeling are not going to make rotation. So I want to make sure that this deck counts. And I think goes to the same with pretty much all this decks. We don't know what rotation is going to give us. We have a working idea of like certain things, but so far nothing that has made me think that Sapphire or Steel are going to be incredibly prominent in this meta. Post rotation gives me a chance that it could be the case, but we are not talking about the future. We are talking about the here and the now. And right now, this is the champion. Let's go ahead and take a look at the deck profile. So to start off, I want to start off by showing off the MVP of this deck. This is one of the other big reasons why this deck exists in the first place, and that of course is 4 copies of Kit Cloud Kicker, Spunky Bear Cub. It's a 1-drop inkable, has an 0-1 stat line, but it does have ward. You can keep this card on the board for as long as you want to. Um, Even though Grab Your Sword is a card that you have to worry about, 9 times out of 10, I've come across so many steel decks and they don't use it. They don't use it all that often for us to be a thing. And the idea is like you kind of hope that by turn 5 that you don't have to worry about um, Grab Your Swords, because by then you will have already shifted it. I know we'll get to that in a second. But in addition, you also do have 3 1-drop Robin Hoods, 2/2 stat line, 1-drop Inkable, Quest for 1. And again, it's another shift line that you can depend on down the line. But ideally, you kind of like want, for me, I always kind of want to have Kit come out on the first turn, and then have Robin Hood come out like turn 2 and hopefully put 2 of them, maybe another Kit, or maybe another Kit, if we can. But you want to make it in such a way that like if you have 2 Robin Hoods, your chances are they're not going to be able to target both of them. You're going to have to choose one, and then you can still pop off the big Robin Hood later on. And even if you do 1 Robin Hood, it's like boom, but then you still have 2 kits, and there is a possibility that you might have 3. You might have both kit shift targets at the same time too. And then for me, I do also have 4 Mulan Disguised Soldier. It's got a 1-drop Inkable, 2/1 stat line. When you play this character, you may draw a card and choose and discard a card. So like this could be a situation where like if you just brick your hand, you want to have a Mulan in turn 1 just so you can at least kind of drop one of those cards that doesn't work and then replenish it with another card that potentially could work. Does it brick? Yes, it does. I mean, it's a deck. It's gonna do that. But you kind of want to have this backdoor just in case things go south. And then I also have 3 Fire the Cannons, which allows you to deal 2 damage to a chosen character. More often than not, what I end up doing is I'll just go ahead and put I'll put like, say, a Kit down on turn 1, and on turn 2 I'll put a Robin Hood, and then if I just happen to have a Fire the Cannons, I'll just go ahead and fire the cannons on that Cinderella that was probably going to nail my Robin Hood in the first place. So this is a good card just to have, just in case. If you have a narrative that doesn't involve having Fire the Cannons, then don't do it. But this is a good card to have when you need it. Sometimes it can get you out of certain jams in the right time. Let's go ahead and move on to the 2 drops. We've got 4 Annas. It's 2-drop Inkable, 1/4 stat line, Quest for 1. But if you have a hero character in play, this character gets +1 lore strength. Now, Mulan is also a hero. And the way that I like to play it is Alice on turn 3, which is another one of the big MVPs in this deck. You're going to see in a second. Is also a hero, and because of that, you can also use that to pop off on turn 3. That's totally fine. But if Mulan is there, you have 2 options that you can kind of go for. You can have Mulan and then put Anna on there, knowing that you have Alice in the backcourt just in case things go south. But Anna is only useful if you have a hero plotline. This deck is actually designed in such a way that if you have an ally plotline, which is usually focused on Kit, Smee, Alice, of course, and then like a couple other guys. If you have that line, go for it. But if you don't, you can also go the hero line and still get lore that way by having Mulan, and then Mulan, or even I think is Robin Hood a hero? Robin Hood's a hero, right? Yeah. Or even Robin Hood, you can have that, and then Alice, and then Anna's there, and then you can use Robin Hood to kind of shift at the same time too on turn 3. So you have a hero route, but you also do have an ally route. The ally route is ideally what you want to do in this deck, and I'll kind of get to God Hands in a second. But if you don't, you can always use a hero route. So there's 2 ways you can pathways that you can go in order to net the game. Ally is going to be faster, but it doesn't mean that you're out of the loop if you don't have the ally route. Continuing with 2 drops, we've got Mr. Smee. Another one of the ally plotline is actually is this guy right here. One of the best steel cards in the game. It is a set 3. I do not know if this card is going to make it into the rotation. We'll see. But you guys know this one. 2-drop inkable, 3/3 stat line, quest for 2, and at the end of your turn, if this character is reserved and you don't have a captain character in play, deal 1 damage to this character. I really kind of wish that they would just have like a sick pirates deck or something like that you can just put a captain out there and just say that this is the captain. Now I can keep this on here for as long as I want to. I've even, like, in a lot of situations when I play Mr. Smee, I always keep tempting myself with, like, I should have just put 1-drop Captain Hook in there as a challenger, just kind of keep it chilling there just to make sure that Mr. Smee stays on board. No one ever, like, thinks to do that. And, I mean, I guess it's not game-breaking or anything if you do, but it's like no one's ever thought to just have Captain Hook there. I don't know. Let's do have 3 docks. Dock is helps redraw your hand. When you play this character, you can discard your hand to draw 2 cards. Empty hand, put that on there. Now you have 2 cards. So let's move on to the 3-drops. We got Pete. When you play this character, opponents can't play actions to start your next turn. You don't necessarily have to worry about this in a deck like this that's focused so much on ward. However, you do have to worry about things like Be Prepared, Pirate's Life, Grab Your Swords is another thing. So like you Pete, and then the key about Pete is you want to be able to Pete at the right time. One of the easiest ways to do it is usually by turn 5, a Sapphire deck will usually have enough lore to do Be Prepared on turn 7. And so you would want to put Pete around turn 6, like when they got like 6 inked, or they just got their 7, they just can't get it on there. That would be the one situation where you want to do it. That could be the case, like that's just how it works. Usually that's one of the easiest kind of examples, but you can also Pete on a Half-Hour Ghost situation. You could Pete on a Pirate's Life situation. That can always be a thing that you can also do at the same time. Next up, I got 2 Wendy Darlings. This is the first of our big ward characters besides Kit. It's got ward and it's got support. Good stat for support. It's a 3/1 stat line, 3-drop inkable, and then a quest for 2. So it's a good body that can quest for 2 and get you a decent amount of lore in one go, but it can also help support other characters. All of a sudden, if for some reason Kit's not popping off, you can just turn into a 3/1 and start challenging. If you put 3 strength on freaking Robin Hood, it's a 6/6 now, and then when it banishes, you can get 2 lore. That's really cool. Let's take a look at this. 4 Alice's. Alice Salary Sailor, 3-drop uninkable, 1/4 stat line. It's got ward, quest for 2. Whenever this character quests another chosen character, yours gets +1 lore and gains 1 until starting next turn. I am not afraid to take this one and just give a new character out that uses ward. And just put ward on there. Yeah, you should be able to net 1 more lore, but sometimes it just doesn't work out that way, and that's okay. I just want to make sure that the card that is coming out is going to be able to do its effect on the next turn. 2 copies of Smash. Deal 3 damage to chosen character. You're going to notice that in this deck, I do not have any songs. 1, I've said this before, I do not like playing Emerald. I hate Emerald with a flaming passion, which is really ironic because the second seed is an Emerald Amethyst, and I love that deck. But I hate playing against Emerald, and I do not want Ursula by any means to pop off in any sort of way. So instead, I use a lot of just actions to smash, and it's not the way that the deck works. So like you're just kind of hoping that all your characters will kind of do its job and kind of net you the win before you have to worry about using actions. But smash, fire the cannons, those things can get you out of situations pretty well, and you don't necessarily want to depend on them, but they're there just in case I need to do anything. And then I've got on the 4 drops, I got 3 copies of Pluto Guard Dog. It's got Bodyguard, and when this character has no damage, he gets +4 strength, 1/5 stat line, 4-drop inkable, quest for 1. this is one of the situations where sometimes I would actually put this one in bodyguard, and then if I have Alice on board, I would exert that and put ward on Pluto. Yeah, it's a bodyguard right on front, and you have no choice to what to challenge it because I have Alice on board that just gave it ward. So that could be a tough kind of thing to deal with, and it's just like it's a nuisance kind of situation. You just kind of want to make it harder for your opponent to win. I tend to just kind of have that playability. I'm not an elite player. I'm just a scrub with a camera. But like I love to make it in such a way that like when you play against me, I'll be like the hardest O2 I'll be the hardest 2-0 you ever get. And this is another example of the way that I kind of do it. Then of course I got 4 McDuck Manners. You can't not, especially as long as this is going to be a relevant card in the meta. You want to use McDuck Manor if you're a Sapphire player. It's a good backdoor. You can kind of depend on this one. This can sit on it for a while, and people have to waste a lot of resources in order to get rid of the manor. There aren't a whole lot of banish locations, I think, except for Rise of the Titans, but no one's going to ever like put that much effort into putting that card in there just to worry about locations, because locations are prominent in certain decks, but they're not prominent in every deck. If like every deck had a sick location that they can always count on, then yeah, we would probably use Rise of the Titans. But and not to mention, it's set 3, so it might not even make the rotation. You never know. So yeah, there's that. Let's move on to the 5 drops. I've got 4 Robin Hood Champion Assuredwoods. Again, it's a good shift target. Shifts on 3. And it means where like if you can't win it by questing, you can always win it by challenging. So you can use things like putting this in conjunction with the ward support, Wendy Darling, making this powerful, and then also starting the challenge. That way you can take off most of the targets on the board that you can. I think the only thing that you can't take out is like obviously the evasives. But you can take out what is it? You can take out a Maui. You can take out a not the half shark, but the Hero at all. You can take out things like Pluto. You can take out Lawrence's. You can take out rhinos. And those could be definitely useful. And then you can take out rhinos and it'll still survive, which is pretty nice. And then you can still get more lore. And if for some reason it gets banished in a challenge, you can always still draw a card as a backdoor. So that's always a nice option to have. But this has been an MVP, and I have reason to believe that is going to make reprints. It's going to get reprinted in the rotation. We'll see. Very strong chance it could. So don't confirm me on this one. I want to be surprised by the times at night, knowing which ones are coming out. For your information, I am kind of spoiling stuff, but I also don't want to spoil it for people that are not aware, because I'm not a person that just does reveals and stuff like that on my channel. So, and then let's continue with 5 drops. I got 2 copies of Cogsworth Grandfather Clock. 5-drop Inkable, 2/5 stat line, quest for 2, shift 3. It's got ward, and your other character's game resist +1. A lot of people are very smart and will put 4 copies of Cogsworth in their Sapphire Seal decks. And I understand that, and I applaud that for them. The only problem is this card is a set 2 card, and up until this whole time, I've only had 2 copies, and I'm not willing to buy any more unless I know that the rotation is going to accommodate Cogsworth. But until then, I definitely know that this is one of the big MVPs, and I don't really rely too much on Cogsworth. This deck can pop off pretty well without it, because it's not a part of the narrative. It's a card that you just want to have there just to kind of protect your characters, and it's totally fine if you have it on there, but it isn't part of the curve, at least not in this deck. What is a pretty good part of this curve is Big Bad Gantu right over here. 5-drop Inkable, 4/3 stat line, and a quest for 4, bro. Yes, I love this dude. This is such a great card. I'm so glad that he finally gets his due. But basically, what ends up happening? You got Alice on the field already. You put Big Bad Gantu, and you got 16 lore on the thing. You quest Alice on there. Oh, you got 14 lore on the field. You quest for 2 with Alice. You put ward on Gantu. They can't do anything about it, man. Like, even if unless they do a B prep, which I mean, yes, it can happen. I can totally understand understand that, but they can't do anything about it. Like they can't target it with steel characters and all that kind of stuff. This is actually, in my experience with this deck, I have been very confident playing against steel cards because everyone uses steel to kind of like pick off characters, right? And but with Ward, it's just like you're just basically ruining it for all steel decks, and so um, that has been a thing. And unless you have like a discard ability, like Emerald Steel can kind of thing can sometimes get wins. Amethyst Steel can sometimes get wins because like it is can be a little bit faster than this deck. But and then of course Amber Steel aggro, it's definitely really a hell of a lot faster than this deck for how aggro it is. But at the same time, it's like it's just such a sick presence to have this card on the board, and even if like they end up getting rid of it, they're wasting the resources on other cards so that you can still have other important cards still on the field. And I also do have 3 Bagheeras. It's got Bodyguard, 4/3 stat line, 5/3 5-drop Inkable, Quest for 2, and during an opponent's turn, when this character is banished, you deal 2 damage to each opposing character. This is kind of like a built-in grab your swords. If for some reason it gets banished, deal 2 damage to each opposing character. And if you do it right, you don't have to worry about. I mean, like Zeus will take it out, but it'll also do that. But like, as long as you don't have to worry about like things like Let It Go or what is it? What's the one? What's the one? Hades. Don't have to worry about this one. This is gonna be a pretty solid option. But even then, like even if they waste resources on this character, again, they're wasting resources on other characters that don't matter in terms of the narrative. And you definitely want to protect it because this right here is the heartbeat of this deck. 6-drop, Kid Cloud Kicker. Shift 3, it's got Ward, Quest for 3. You want to work your way up from this one in order to get to this one. And this is the thing that makes this deck my deck. A lot of Kiwi Birds variants will use other kind of cards on there. Most of the cards that are in there are part of the Kiwi Birds variant. Mine does depend on Kit Cloud Kicker to get the win. And I love this card. I don't think it's ever going to make rotation, so this might be the last. This probably will be the last hurrah for it. But I really like Kid Cloud Kicker, and usually whenever people like I play against them, they always have a conversation about it's like, oh man, I've never seen this combination go. So like win or lose, they always have something to talk about when they play this card. When they see me play this card, but that is the deck profile for the current reigning defending champion, Sapphire Steel, here in the Nerdstrom household. And will it defend its title? Will it go out on a high note? I don't know. August 10th, you're going to have to just kind of figure that out and find out for yourself. So, now that we've gotten all the deck profiles out of the way, I do want to show you an idea of what the plan is for the Nerdstrom House Championship. So, starting on August 10th, 2025, this is going to be the seeding for the Nerdstrom House Championship. So, as you can see, the number 1 seed, Blue Steel, and the number 2 seed, Emerald Amethyst Levers, they are going to take a first round bye in the Nerdstrom House Championship. That's the beauty of being highly seeded. Eat your heart out, Moss, from IT Crowd. But meanwhile, the 3 to 6 seeds are going to have to face off against each other. So we've got the number 3 seed, Ruby Amethyst, going off against Amber Emerald, Chernodog's deck. This is going to be an interesting match, in my opinion, because I do feel that Emerald Amethyst, even though it's a 6 seed, might take the win because it's such a fast deck that I don't think Ruby Amethyst is going to be able to take it. So we might see our first upset right off the bat with this combination. And then we've got Tale as Old as Time. We've got Ruby Sapphire going up against Amber Steel, the number 5 seed, in order to figure out who goes off to the next round. And then whoever wins this match or this match, they're going to go on to their respective seedings. And the number 2 seed, Emerald Amethyst, will take on the winner of the 4-5 matchup here. And same will face off against Blue Steel right over on this side. And then if the whoever wins these ones will face off against each other in the championship round, and we will determine who the winner is. Hopefully before Fabled comes out. So as you know, on this channel, I try to be consistent. But currently, with scheduling and all that kind of stuff, life does get in the way. I'm only a part-time streamer. I'm doing this as a hobby. Again, I'm not an elite player. I'm just a scrub with the camera. But what I will say is I am aiming to finish before the mass release of Fable. So, you heard it here, you've seen it on my board. I am making a commitment that I will finish the Nerdstrom House Championship Set 8 by the time Fabled has a mass release, which I do believe is the first week in September. This should give me some time, and I should be able to finish this in time for Fabled. And we'll send out the first rotation in Lorcana's history out on a high note here at the Nerdstrom household. So, if you want to be a part of the action and you still haven't subscribed yet, I certainly hope you have. I want to thank, first of all, I do want to thank all the 69 subscribers. Nice. I mean, I'm kind of tempted to say, no, don't subscribe. I just want to keep my numbers at 69. But, I still kind of want to have a presence. My whole goal is right now at this point is I'd love to have 100 subscribers by the end of this year. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you love all the content that you're seeing on here, you want to see more of the Nerdstrom House Championship, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And hit the bell icon for all things Nerdstrom here at the Nerdstrom household. But until next time, I will hopefully see you on August 10th for the first round of the Nerdstrom House Championship, where I think we're going to probably start off with... the closer 2 seeds, Ruby Sapphire, Amber Steel, and then we'll move on to the spicy one, which is the number 3 seed, going off against number 6 seed, Amber Emerald. But yeah, until next time, my name is Billy. No, my name's not Billy. My name is Nerdstrom, reminding you that just because I play against myself doesn't mean that you have to. Go out, make new friends, and let's get nerdy.